Hi folks, nice short one for you today. Well, not really a short one, but you know what I mean. It's a Games Workshop story, which basically means that we're going to be doing... Well, it's not going to be a 50-minute one. It's going to be more like a 10 to 15-minute one. But I like doing these every now and again, making sure that you guys get a little bit of entertainment before, you go into the weekend. If you like what I do, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, do all that fun stuff, because it really does help in the algorithm as we go forward. So, let me have a little chat here about the time when I lost £750 worth of Games Workshop models when I was working for the company. For those of you who know, in fact most of you will, but if you're new around here, hello, I worked for Games Workshop for 3-4 years. I do this all the time. I've been on here, showing my pay slips and all that sort of stuff, so you know I'm above board and all that. But at the same time, worked for the company for a couple of years, let's say. And yeah, I've got many stories to tell about my time there. Because in my time there, I was not just a staff member. I worked my way up to be a manager as well of a local store. And most of my stories come from that time. But this one actually comes from when I was a staff member and not a manager. So this is the time before I was a full-time manager. I need to do a bit of context here around the whole situation before I do anything else. So, this story takes place in my second year working for Games Workshop. I'd been working at a store in England for some time, and decided I wanted to become a manager for many reasons, but the three main reasons were, number one, I wanted to have my own store, and to run it in my own way, alright? And to have my own responsibility. Number two, I wanted to not work for my manager anymore at my store, because working for him resulted in people leaving and having burnout. This was a guy who constantly was on your case, constantly was critiquing, nitpicking. He was known even to other managers as a job's worth, as somebody who was, really harsh on his staff and who had next to no empathy for staff or anything like that. Just didn't give a shit. Even my trainer, who was no shrieking violet himself, thought that this guy was a piece of work, so, and he said, look, if you can deal with him, you can be a manager, don't worry, And number three, I wanted to make more money, simple, I had a daughter, a newborn daughter at the time, well, she was 2, no, 1, yeah, she was 1 at the time, so, I needed more money, needed to make sure I was bringing in the dough, and that's what I wanted, so, fun thing, I got none of those things when I became a manager, because I was constantly overridden by head office and anything I wanted to do in the store. I wasn't paid more money. I was paid about £50 to £100 more a month than I was as a normal staff member running my own store. And number two, I still had to deal with my manager because he was only down the road and he kept on coming to try and get some of my stock for his own store. So, and he was always around and training too. It was, oh God, it was just more of the same. But, not that much more money and a lot more stress. So, in short, that's why I'm not a Games Workshop manager anymore, and that's why I teach instead, because it is much more fulfilling, and life is going great. So please don't think that things aren't going very well, because they are. But at the same time, yeah, those reasons why I left. Anyway, so I applied to the Management Pipeline program, and it's still there, and anyone can apply to be considered. And what the Management Pipeline program is Games Workshop's portfolio for managers that they've got ready to take over certain stores. So, instead of you applying for a certain job to manage a certain store, Games Workshop will very, very rarely hire somebody off the bat to just go and run a store from the street, do you know what I mean? If you just apply for the job. What they will do is they will ask you to come in for management training, and then you are thrown into the management pipeline. And what that is, if they find a store that they think you're a good fit for, they've already got your portfolio there, you're in the file, and they say, oh, Dave can be the manager of the Wolverhampton store, right? Because the Wolverhampton store needs a manager, and it's not a very big store, so we think Dave would be a really good fit here, because the personalities in this store, the customers are like this, and the regulars are like this. I mean, don't get me wrong, they don't give a shit about the regulars, and they don't really think about them at all. But, if they're looking at the different what the store needs, then they will match you to that store. And so I did that because at the same time, my contract was coming up as a staff member, and I didn't want to renew it. I didn't want to be a staff member anymore at Games Workshop. My manager had burned me out. I was done. I was not enjoying the hobby anymore. I hated it. And I rolled the dice and said, look, I'll try and become a manager. I'll join the pipeline, and if I get something, I get something, and if I don't, then I'll leave, and I'll go home, and I'll start training to become a teacher, which is what I've always wanted to do anyway. But lo and behold, so I apply for the position to be in the pipeline. I get accepted. I go down first to do an interview to get onto the pipeline, and they agree, and they think I'd be a good fit. The recruitment team are very nice. They taught me through. I met the White Dwarf people for the first time that day as well, for some reason. I don't know why. And it was one of these really weird ones. It was an interview where, so one wall is all glass, and so there are people just working on the other side of the glass in the offices. So you've got the facilities manager, and you've got the social media manager, and you've got the HR manager, and you've got all these people that's working in the other room as I'm sitting there in a suit talking to this guy about why I'd be a good fit for Games Workshop management. And, it was just one of the strangest choices for venue I've ever been a part of. But that they were also what I will say is, do not do what I did. Not that you could help it. But I was late to both of my interviews, which normally is a big no-no. But they knew I was coming in from somewhere else in the UK, and the trains are awful. And because they booked my train tickets, they were able to check that I was telling the truth, that my trains just weren't turning up. But anyway, yeah, don't lie to them, because they will find out. Because they do pay for your train ticket, they pay for everything. They don't let you pay for anything, which is nice. So I did my first interview to get onto the pipeline. That went really well. I left, went back to work at the store. I was still like, hey, at least I got to see Warhammer World from the inside. What was nice about this process is everything was something that I always wanted to do, and I was chalking these things off on a checklist. I was like, well, I've seen Games Workshop from the inside now, and now I've seen Warhammer World from the inside. I'd never been to Warhammer World before, and so number one, I went looking around everything in Warhammer World, and I remember showing my girlfriend at the time pictures of, all the things I was looking at, and I got to go and do all these things for free. They didn't charge me to go look around any of the exhibitions. They didn't charge me anything. I got a half price pint at the bar. It was great. I was just like, this is great. And I spoke to the White Dwarf people. And that was my first time there. My second time there, I actually got a call from head office to the store saying, we want you to come in and interview for this store, but in particular. We want you to write a business plan and come in, and I had no idea what a business plan even was, so I just kind of winged it and made one, and went in. And to this day, I believe that business plan was something that they would have just thrown out, because I gave them a better business plan much later that they rejected. So I gave them a shitty business plan, but I went in there full of enthusiasm and, happiness that I was even here again, and I was so happy to see them again, because they were so nice to me last time. And we got on like house on fire, and I sincerely believe that's why I got the job. Because the other guy, I actually went to my interview with another staff member from the store that I worked in, and he was a much better staff member than me. I talked back a lot, and I didn't take any shit, and I just got annoyed with my manager a lot, because I just didn't like being spoken to like a piece of crap. Whereas this other guy, he worked really hard, never said boo to a goose, was always reliable, was there. And I just did not like this manager by this point, so I was just like, you know what, I'm going to turn up, I'm going to do my allotted hours, and then I'm leaving. I'm not coming in early, I'm not staying after work to do fucking training, I'm going, see you later. Whereas this guy did all of that, He went to the interview, he was such a nice guy, but he was extremely nervous, even in the car, he was extremely nervous. It was almost like he wanted to get it over with. And I thought when I came back to the store, well, I put my best foot forward. My business plan was a load of shit. I'm not going to get the job. But hey, I've now seen Games Workshop twice from the inside at HQ. I got introduced to a lot of people. I went for a pint with my friend. We came back, and now I get to go home early from work. And I got some models from Forge World at half price. Winning, basically. I was happy. Or 25% off, whatever it was. Anyway. So, the call comes into the store that the other guy didn't get the job, he didn't get the management job, and at this point I'm thinking, well, I didn't get it either, because if this guy hasn't got it, I haven't got it. And I even said that in the store to my manager and the other staff member said, yeah, well, if If Harry hasn't got it, let's say, let's call him Harry. If Harry hasn't got it, I haven't got it. Let's be honest. And you know what? Harry was like, "No, man, you'll get it." And then my manager was like, "Yeah, you're probably right." I was thinking, "Yeah, cheers, dude." Like I just laughed, like, but it wasn't. It was one of those. So, the phone call comes in to the store from head office, and it's a girl called Sue, and she says, "Oh, can I speak to, can I speak to Dean, please? Can I speak to him?" And my manager gives me the phone, says, "Go and take this somewhere else." I think he kind of knew that they wouldn't have called unless they were going to offer me it. Anyway, I go in the back room, and they offer me the job of the store that I actually wanted, and they said that I came across really well in the interview, and they think that they didn't really care about the business plan. It was more, is this guy a piece of clay that we can mould into being the perfect Games Workshop manager? And the response to that question was a resounding yes. So I'll never forget that feedback, because I was over the moon. I was like, I was ready to retire at Games Workshop. I really was. Like, at this point, I was like, if they got this faith in me, I'm going to knock this shit out the park. I'm just going to be the best Games Workshop manager I can ever be. And I walked back into the room, into the store, and I've never really been good with empathy, and I have too much. If you annoy me, then I don't have that, and you annoy me to a certain extent, I won't have much empathy for you at all. But even this manager, I didn't have it in me to gloat and be like, haha, I got the job, sort of a thing. Mainly because I knew that Harry didn't get it, and I didn't, and plus, this manager, at the end of the day, he gave me a job, so I didn't really want to shit all over him. So I just told him I got it quietly and put the phone down. He didn't say congratulations, he just, oh, brilliant, okay, cool. Anyway, go clean this. So I was like, okay. So I went and got on with my job, So, went about my working day. But I had to go to HQ in Nottingham for a meeting on work time, to do a little bit more training and to meet people, and this is where my story kicks off. So, my manager asks me at the time to go to HQ, when I go to HQ, to get some stuff for the store out of my own money. Now, the reason why I did that was because we'd had orders coming in for certain things that we just didn't have in the store. And we didn't like to let people down, so sometimes we'd try and source them from other stores. Or, push comes to shove, we buy them and sell them, because it's more important to please these people and keep them coming back than it is to make a strict profit on what we're bringing in. Because at the end of the day, money's going out the till, money's coming back in the till. It won't show on the accounts, but it will still be pretty cool because somebody got their models. So, I agree, and it's going to be about £350 worth of stuff from HQ that I'm going to be getting for the store. And he says, yeah, if you go and get that out of your own money and give me the receipt, I'll pay you back out the till. No problem. Now, I was a bit pissed about this because I don't want cash. So then I've got to take the risk of going to my bank and putting that in, because I wasn't with like, digital stuff back then. So I just, okay, whatever. But I did him a favour. I was like, yeah, cool, I'll do the favour for you, no problem. So I went to Games Workshop, and I absolutely loved my time there, going to Warhammer World for the third time. So I was going to get myself an army whilst I was there, because I actually started talking to the manager of the Warhammer store in Warhammer World the last time I was there, and I said, yeah, next time I'm going to finish off my Grey Knights. I'm going to come in with about £400. I'm going to finish off my Grey Knights. So I didn't want to give my own store the money because he's annoying me. So I go to HQ and I do all of my meetings, and I meet a lot of people, and I've got lots of stories about that. I've told a few on the channel before, but only like a quarter of them, about all the things that I ended up getting up to in my visits to Warhammer World. But anyway, so I go into Warhammer World store, the Warhammer store there, and I buy around £750 worth of stuff. So 400 of my own stuff, and 350 of the stores. And I'm very happy. I leave, and, things are going very, very well. So, manager's very happy because he's gotten a large sale as well. I head to the train station, and then on the way home, I'm actually listening, and I always remember this, the Aaron Dembski Bowden book Betrayer. I was listening to that on audiobook, and fun fact, I was wearing the Games Workshop staff gear as well on a train, and that gets you looked at a lot No idea why. Maybe it's because normies kind of know who we are and what we do, and maybe geeks who are on the train just get excited. I don't know, but anyway, you got a lot of attention. You don't get like sexual stuff or anything like that, but you're getting a lot of attention from people like, oh, I know that logo from somewhere, sort of a thing. But anyway, I don't know if you've ever had this, but sitting there, I was so happy and smiling to myself, and then I checked my bags, and one was missing. Have you ever had that feeling in the pit of your stomach where it feels like your arse is going to drop out? Like you're literally just like, oh my god, what have I done? Yeah, it's one of those feelings. I started sweating. I must have looked ill, I must have looked pale. I looked into my own rucksack and half of my order was indeed in there. But I had left a full bag at the train station platform, several £100 worth of models, and the receipt in that bag that I had left at the train station. I was cursing myself and was sure I was about to get sacked. And before you judge me for thinking that, not just that, this is my reputation on the line too. And when you know by my other stories just how judgmental Games Workshop's corporate structure is, if they found out about this, I'd be fucked. I'd still get the job, but they would be on me like a ton of bricks from day one. Because what kind of a manager goes to HQ, gets stuff, only to leave it at the fucking train station to be robbed? They're going to be thinking, how the hell can we trust this guy with any sort of responsibility? So I'm done, and I'm cursing myself. I've had enough of myself at this point. I don't want to be me anymore, I've let myself down again. So I suck it up. I text my manager. Yes, that manager. The one who causes so much stress and angst amongst his customers and staff. And you know what? I'm shocked to find that he is completely reasonable and makes a call to the GW nearest the station and even asks them to keep it quiet as I am a new manager and he doesn't want people judging me before I've even got my foot in the door. Right? The manager in question, as in the one that he called, is nice enough that he heads to the platform and wouldn't you know it, the bag is there. He picks it up, takes an inventory, and it's all there. And he agrees to send it to our store in the internal mailing system. Crisis averted, right? The next training session we had in Nottingham, I got this guy a beer as a thank you, and I also got my manager at the time a beer as well, just to say thanks. But beyond that, my manager eventually paid me out when the stuff got to the store, safe and sound. That was a bit shitty, considering I'd already spent my own money, and he knows the stuff is safe, but anyway. It's shitty that I had to wait for my money, but I guess it is what it is. What surprised me was his swift action in making sure I was sheltered from the fallout of this, Weirdly, he did back off a lot when he knew I was going to be a manager as well, only to then be a twat again after I was actually working as a manager. So when we met after I was working as a manager and not working with him anymore, he was a twat to me again. I have no idea why. I remember several really snarky remarks he'd make when we were out and about as managers that I just won't get into here, but I was very disappointed in him. I figured after the Lost Models incident, this dude may be a stand-up guy, but just hiding under a GW management sell veneer of a persona, But it turns out how he was in the store was a lot closer to the real guy than I wanted to admit, But that is the time that I nearly got sacked for losing a whole boatload of models. I really hope you enjoyed this one, guys. I love you all a long time, and I will speak to you tomorrow for some more hobby nightmares. You have a lovely day, and I'm really liking these new forms of content that we do in between. Loving these. But anyway, love you all. Have a really good time. See you tomorrow. It's nearly the end of the week. Hooray!